everybody, and welcome back to Brainstorm Brewery. So I think we're pretty much, if there was a fairy tale version of a podcast, that would be us, right?
What are you doing?
You're the Shrek of this podcast.
I am the Shrek of this podcast, that's true.
Shut up, donkey.
But you know what? I liked Shrek, and I like the song All Star by Smash Mouth, in case you didn't know who sang it. Is that allowed? Is that cool, not cool? I'm not really sure where public sentiment on All Star is now.
I think people pretend that they didn't like Smash Mouth back in the day for whatever reason. Like, I don't know why people like to pretend that everyone didn't love Walking on the Sun. Like, that song wasn't a monster smash hit.
I'm listening to Nickelback right now.
A monster Smash Mouth hit?
Well, not right now, but I listened to Nickelback's 2005 albums when I was on the plane ride back from Denver.
Was that the first album?
No, 2005. Their first album was like...
It's like Animals, Follow You Home, Next Contestant.
I don't know.
Like,
yeah, I don't know.
We're not going to know deep cuts off of 2005 Nickelback album. 2005 is when everyone knew better. But
Jason, you can name like every actor. And if I pick a random movie produced in 1978, you can name every actor, so I don't want to hear it.
Pick a random movie produced in 1978.
All right.
Star Wars. Return of the Jedi.
Nickelback's another one of those bands where everyone's going to pretend that everybody on the planet didn't love How You Remind Me. Now, their later stuff was terrible.
Jason, name the lead actor from Midnight Express.
Midnight Express? Oh, I don't know the guy's name. I never really saw him in anything else, but I do have Midnight Express on DVD. Does that count?
Yes.
I was wrong. Return of the Jedi was 1983.
Yeah.
But when was the original?
1978.
Oh, okay. I was close. Oh. Anyways, so let's we got a lot to talk about this week. By the way, they announced a new set. It's called Throne of Eldraine. It is Magic's take on Camelot.
Buy the fairies! Buy them all!
Bitter Blossom reprint incoming?
Bitter Blossom did go up in price.
Stupid speculators.
Cryptic Command in standard? Click now. Hot singles in your area.
Hot singles.
Get it? Because cards
it's
are
gonna be
also
cool.
Vendilion click here to be connected with hot singles. Yeah,
like Camelot, Arthurian. I think that's how you would say it, right? Arthurian fairy tale, like just all of your King Arthur type stuff, and Grimm's fairy tales. There's a gingerbread man straight out of the movie Shrek. It's gonna be fun. It's going to be cool. So that's the new set. And everyone's buying the fairies. But that was just the beginning of the announcements over the past week.
Wizards bought ads for the preview to Shrek 5. If you go see that in theaters, you're going to see like...
While you idiots heard fairy tale set and bought all the fairies, I went and bought all the tails. All right? So if you need copies at 8.5 tail, you're going to have to get them from me.
You got more?
Oh, shit, Jason, you beat me. I gotta rush to buy the fairy tale anime on DVD now. Shit.
Wait, is Shrek 5 a thing?
I don't know, man. Jason would know.
Why would I know? I saw Shrek 1 in the theater.
Shrek 5, Untitled Shrek reboot.
They're rebooting Shrek without Mike Myers?
There's a teaser. I can't tell if any of this is real or not.
There's a lot of things you can't tell are real, Corbin.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it looks like there's articles about Shrek 5 from June.
Oh no, if they reboot Shrek, it would be with Pete Davidson as the voice probably. That would be terrible.
Yeah, I don't it doesn't have a release date.
Oh, Jesus.
It's been a decade since Shrek 4, for the record.
They made a Shrek 4?
I guess. Was that... Yeah, Shrek Forever After, probably.
So, you telling me there's a Shrek 4 is kind of startling to me, because that means there's a Shrek 3. That's how I found out there's a Shrek 3, by you telling me there's a Shrek 4. I don't like either of those two bits of information that I got simultaneously.
Shrek the Third came out in 2007. Come on, man.
Well, I was an adult in 2007. So I didn't see it. I did see Shrek 1 on a date.
Oh, that's good. Worth it. That's good. It took me forever to see Shrek. I didn't see it till I was it was way after it had come out. But I showed Ben Shrek, I don't know, maybe a year ago, and he was kind of into it. I might try that one again. He doesn't really like movies, but I might try to put that one on again sometime.
Lily likes Into the Spider-Verse. She's watched it basically every day on Netflix.
We've been trying to get like a time because that crosses all the boundaries. Like, I want to see it again. I watched it on a plane. Marianne's, my wife's dad, is really into Marvel stuff, so like he wants to see it, and I think Ben might like it because it's a cartoon or whatever. I don't really know, but so we've been like trying to find a time where all of us can get together and watch it, and that just hasn't happened in 2 months. So I guess we'll keep trying. But Into the Spider-Verse was great, as was Far From Home.
Yeah, the reason we're not talking about Magic is because Merc Rosewater he killed Magic on Saturday. It's kind of unfortunate, but Magic is canceled.
Yeah. Magic was canceled. Also by new booster packs. All right.
Magic was canceled by the fact that LSV was in the finals of a GP and nobody knew about it. Because there were 4 people watching him and one dude
Corbin, how did you not have coverage at this GP? OMG.
Yep. It's weird. Weird how when the company doing coverage decides to stop doing coverage, there's no more coverage.
Is that how that worked out?
That's how it works. It turns out. I don't know. I have no visibility on any of those decisions. I just go where I'm supposed to be. So I don't know.
Which is not at coverage.
not at coverage at GP Denver, that's for sure. So there's 3 new boosters. Well, I'm sorry. There's now 3 booster pack options, and it's maybe not as big of a change as you think. You still have your normal boosters, which are now called draft boosters. Also, there will be, I guess, $10-ish guild boosters.
Well, they are theme boosters, is what the
theme boosters
because
now.
There are not guilds in Throne of Eldraine, but there were guilds in Ravnica, which is when they just previewed. They sort of tested the waters into these by making theme boosters and testing to see if the players like them. Players apparently like them, so we have theme boosters going forward. They're not really going to affect your average player because they're just sort of more of a Walmart decoration for the average player who goes, I have a red deck to go buy a booster that
it's going to be very effective at
a significant number of red cards. So those don't really have an impact on the Magic economy overall. And then we have collector boosters, which are sort of the answer to having masterpieces not in your traditional draft boosters, which would murder the prices of standard singles, which nobody really likes. Nobody really wants to play standard or sell back their cards, or just Magic is generally not in a good spot when you have a basically 0% chance to open a card that's not a masterpiece that is worth something.
Well, I think we should dig.
They are also the answer, I think, to the Mythic Edition fiasco in terms of like they don't want to have any more Hasbro customer service employees get fired. So,
yeah, I mean, let's dig into that a little bit.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate DJ steamrolling Corbin's attempts to steer the conversation?
Hey, that's fine. I had to talk to DJ beforehand.
Corbin wasn't going to remember what they were called. He was going to call them like collectible boosters or something.
Yeah. Okay. So no, but let's dive into the masterpiece thing, because when masterpieces came out, I at least, and I believe all of us on this podcast, loved them because they did make people excited to open packs, but it also brought down the price of standard, and that was coming on the heels of $100 Jace Vryn's Prodigies.
But it did it to such a severe degree where, like the EV of a box of Amonkhet was like $20.
Well, and here's the interesting thing, I think, because for Wizards, the EV of a box only matters to the extent that dealers are buying more boxes from them. Everybody on the internet, every Magic player who decides that their opinion needs to be shared on the internet will tell you that I don't care if my cards are worthless. I just want more people to play with me.
That's what they say.
The thing, right? I understand that, but the point, so that's what I'm getting at. Because Wizards, we have been saying for years, players do actually care about the value of cards, whether they want to admit it or not. Wizards doesn't have to care about whether those cards are worth 20 cents or more. Whether they're worth more, because as long as people are buying the boosters, they would happily keep doing it. So the question is, because Wizards killed masterpieces and is now doing this, do they recognize, should we take that as a sign from Wizards that masterpieces actually hurt sales? Is that what we should take from this?
I mean, it is interesting that every single block that had masterpieces, so 3 blocks, there was Battle for Zendikar, Kaladesh, and Amonkhet, all three of those blocks were, by the majority, considered train wrecks in one way or another, whether they were underpowered or overpowered. So it is hard to draw a correlation when that is the additional factor in playability.
Plus, the standard format was pretty miserable when those sets were laid.
Yeah, it's hard to say that masterpieces were the driving cause of decreased sales when Battle for Zendikar had like 2 playable cards in Ulamog and Gideon for the most part, and then like Shadows over Innistrad was mostly a powerful set. It was pretty strong. And then like Kaladesh was way overpowered, so the like that ruined standard in a whole bunch of different ways, and like it is hard when there are so many factors.
Yeah, I agree. So that's it's interesting though, because like I said, I thought masterpieces were great for the game. It allowed people to open up powerful stuff, blah blah blah. It got more, not a lot more, but it got a little, got some more cards out into circulation, and it kept standard cheap, which I thought was going to be a win-win for everybody. But it wasn't working for Wizards apparently, because they killed masterpieces pretty quick.
Masterpieces are like when your 2-year-old says something funny and then everybody laughs and they don't know why it was funny,
and then they keep
so
saying
they just
shit
keep repeating it
over
and over and like till you're sick of it.
And then you have to tell the kid, we only say shit at home.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also the fact that they canceled masterpieces. They didn't just cancel masterpieces right now. They canceled them after Amonkhet block. Right. Like that was the last.
And they laid out their reasons at the time, and there were a lot of reasons. Like they were basically like, where do we go from here? And then so I just it's just interesting, because if there's one thing you can count on Wizards or any, public company to do, is to do things that continue to make them money. So they either determined that that was not making them money, or that this was going to make them more money. So there's something there. I don't know how we tease out exactly what it means. It might just be that player feedback was that they didn't like masterpieces. But I think there might be something, to the fact that the prices of standard crashed, and then maybe that wasn't good for Magic the way everyone wanted it to be. Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not, but it's worth talking about.
Players didn't like masterpieces because they made the collector booster, and there are
they
still masterpiece-esque cards in these collector boosters. I mean, the players love Mythic Edition. They bought them out. They all disappeared within minutes of eBay ordering. I mean, the Ravnica Allegiance one took a few days, but that was just more of the card quantity or the card quality. But
yeah, so the question, maybe they didn't like the effect. Maybe the community didn't like the effect.
So I mean, they have proven that players like box toppers. I mean, they're making more box topper frames that with the borderless cards. And they're making more quote Mythic Edition frames with the borderless full art Planeswalkers. So both of those were time tested, and they are going to be, as far as we know, going forward, the current gold standard of like. These will be a thing for a while. It's full art rares or full art extended art planeswalkers, and both of those things. And then they also added the new special frame, the showcase frame. That's what it's called. Which will vary depending on the individual mechanics of the set that it is previewed.
Masterpieces.
No, it's like it showcases the set mechanics. So like you saw the Goldilocks with the showcase frame with no text in it. Stuff like that. Yeah,
so there's a lot here, but I think one of the long-term trends of Wizards over, the past 5 years or so has been that, one of those trends has been to separate their audiences and differentiate their audiences and cater to them.
Yes.
The thing about masterpieces in standard boosters is that they were trying to simultaneously cater to the people who wanted high-end stuff like masterpieces and to the players who wanted to buy a booster pack for cheap.
Yes.
And then they did the Mythic Edition, and the Mythic Edition obviously was its own problems, but they clearly demonstrated that segment of the market exists. And you know what? Nobody else was out anything because they sold those, except maybe LGSs, but that's neither here nor there. Box toppers are great. So
the eBay customer support people were out. Quite
all the time they spent up rolling up tubes that they had to resend out.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in warehouses dropping sheets on the floor out of outrage and they're just jamming them into tubes.
Still haven't
shipping them off to fucking bum knows where and wherever your sheet got sent. Like,
we're out of sheets. Quick, send them toothbrushes. That's how they talk.
I have hopes. They're sending me a replacement sheet since my first sheet never arrived, so hopefully I'll get a replacement sheet so it can be damaged.
And then you'll get your original sheet.
And then I can get a replacement sheet. All I want to do is put it in a frame. I actually want to do something cool with it. I want to put it in a frame, put it up on my wall.
Well, I sold my sheet to DJ.
So let's talk about the what do you expect the financial impact of, say, the guild boosters or the $35 whatever, the $20 boosters? I don't know the prices.
Well, what happened to the all foil packs from Shards Block that
they devalued the foils?
Yep.
Yeah. And they've already, just even in the normal boosters, I believe, right, upping the foil rate.
Yes, the foil rate was upped starting in course at 2020, as we talked about last week.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I think these are even more of that. So I think, if you get your borderless Jace or whatever, that's just creating a new expensive version of Jace. That's not pushing down the price of Jace the Mind Sculptor. But, foils are definitely going to be lesser value.
I mean, it also dilutes the number of not dilutes, but it increases the number of options for every individual spicy rare that you can open, and it dilutes the demand for each individual version of that. So a good example of this is Liliana the Veil. If you want to foil out your Liliana, you have several options. You have Innistrad, you have Modern Master 17, you have Ultimate Masters, or you have a box topper, or you have a Pro Tour promo, and every single one of those has the same art.
Yep.
Same with Noble Hierarch. You have the old Border Judge promo. You have Conflux, which is devalued because of the Shards packs. You have Ultimate Masters. You have Modern Masters 15. You have Box Topper. You have the new Pro Tour promo with the different art. There are so many versions of foil cards. Especially with these new cards, there's going to be a Rowan Kenrith with a full art version. Then there's going to be an extended borderless version. There's so many different versions of these cards that it dilutes the demand for each individual version, and it also is a pain in the ass for me when I list stuff.
Yup.
Well, gone are the days of me typing in
these GP promo packs. Have you seen these with the GP promo versions of the card that had the little plates?
Oh my god! Don't get me started, Jason.
Just recently saw those. As a matter of fact,
they have a tiny little planeswalker symbol in the bottom right corner of the art, and it's
I didn't even know they existed.
The middle part of the spire is just high enough that it's just correct to be a middle finger to everyone.
It's did you like it taking twice as long to list Core Set 2020 for sale on your website? Well, enjoy that, fuckos, because that's every set from now on.
Gone are the days of typing Snapcaster M and then hitting enter. No. Now we have to scroll.
Yeah.
If I go to my TCG buy list, and I want to hit Ren in 6, if I type in Ren and S, hit enter, every version of every art and token comes first. The little art inserts, the little tokens, the emblems, because every emblem now has a different token on the back of it. So
we're getting into Chroma
above Ren and 6 herself are bird token 1/1 / Ren and 6 emblem, and then golem token / Ren and 6 emblem.
This is good. I like the salt. This is
Big
good.
Mad.
Big Mad, huh? All right. Well, it's good to know. I mean, overall, it is going to do all of these things. And I think the point about diluting demand is a big one.
It's the same reason we don't tell people to invest in basic lands. Because,
that's a really good point.
Yeah, there's so many.
Should I buy unstable basic? No, they're going to come out with wacky new basic promos next set because people love them.
Well, and this might be a stupid question. I saw this floating around on Twitter earlier, but I don't even know if it was real or not. Much these days, I guess. But are there full art lands from Throne of Eldraine?
I have
or
not
did someone
seen
just
an
mock them
announcement
up?
About
did
them,
somebody
so
just
I am
mock
going to
them
say
up?
no, and I have kept my finger on the pulse of all of the announcements pretty well.
Okay,
I've seen them, but I can't tell. Yeah, I don't know.
There's so much. I mean, this is what people have talked about, right? The fatigue from previews.
I don't really.
I know you don't care, and it's not like
it's not
really
that I don't care.
Either.
It's just I don't think that fatigue is as big of an issue as the vocal minority makes it out to be.
Yeah, look,
just like how players said that they didn't care about the prices of their cards, and then they showed that. I think that it's oh no, my wallet is so fatigued, and yet it continues to spill money out of it.
Yeah, look,
I'm fatigued. I don't just go, oh, cool new cards when some new shit comes out. Like, we have to do a lot of work.
Yeah, I don't.
And if you're doing so much work that there's no time in the day already, that's fine.
No,
but if
I can understand how you're fatigued, Jason. I can understand like from a business and like logical work time flow standpoint. Yes, that the amount of spoilers is fatiguing for somebody who has obligations to like constantly post and constantly delegate articles and all that. I get that. The player fatigue, I think, is very exaggerated.
I think it is, but it is also true that, I mean, I'm pretty clued into Magic, but I didn't know whether or not we were getting full art lands with this set because you just see so much so often, really over the past 2 months. It's not a problem I've ever felt before, but for whatever reason, it might just be me, but over the past 2 months, there's just so much between. I got to figure out all the boosters, and
the set
there's 20 different versions coming from boosters.
Battle Bond at the same spot that Modern Horizons was.
Yeah, the thing is Modern. Yeah, I agree. The thing is Modern Horizons made a lot of changes that Battle Bond just kind of existed. And look, like I said, I agree with you. The complaints are overblown. But I also agree with you. It's just as hard to keep up with everything if you're not super clued in. That's it. That's
if you're not spamming F5 on Reddit every day, you're gonna miss a lot of shit.
Yeah, and that's why I just
I see that for people that like only really interact with me on one axis. Like people that are my followers get stuff, but people that are like, I will post something on the EDH Rec Facebook page, and people are like, "Wait, what's this? Where was this announced?" Because they just don't care about everything.
Yeah, the
which
people
is
who
fine because
complain...
you want the population segmented so no one really feels fatigued. But also, like, if you're not super clued in, you miss an announcement every day because there's an announcement every day.
Wow, it actually felt like we went a lot of time 3-4 months ago with not a lot going on, and now everything's going on. And look, it's fine. People are going to catch up. It's not a big deal, but it's just hard to keep up with everything. And a lot of people have to understand. As you talked about the guild, the theme boosters selling at Walmart, those people look at Magic once every 3 weeks. Like imagine if you hadn't looked at Magic in the last 3 weeks and you came back, you'd be completely overwhelmed. Yeah, but
that increased production schedule keeps Magic like a brand new game for that person who's like walks into Walmart and sees 8 new things. They're like, "Holy crap, this is fantastic!"
And I'll make this point: it's not an accident that people are complaining about product fatigue in the period of the year when people are usually like, "Oh, I can't wait for rotation in October." Like they put everything in the summer and whatever you call like, I don't know when the summer officially ends and begins, but like everything in this 2 to 3 month period, because this is typically the worst time of the year for Magic, and Standard is solved. And
there was like a Reddit post is like, "Is
everybody wants
Showdown
to go
dead forever?" No, it's July, you idiot. People are out having fun.
Yeah, and the thing is, Standard actually is great, and M20 continued to change. Like, Standard is awesome. Scapeshift won the GP in Standard. Like, there's all kinds of cool stuff going on. So that's part of the reason it feels more fatigued, because Standard is sort of a thing you care about, and Modern Horizons made Modern a thing you cared about more. Whereas last year, Battlebond, Standard was terrible. Battlebond came out, and you're just like, okay, I can just safely ignore those for the most part. And that's the difference, I think, between last year and this year. So, all right, let's move on. We've got way more to talk about besides buying
that entire like ecosystem of 3 very intelligent people talking about a very deep topic was only reserved for people who got through the Shrek conversation. That was the litmus test. It's for this podcast. You have to. That's our like gatekeeping. Is if you can handle that, you deserve the rest.
There are some people that listen to this I keep hearing about this podcast. They turn it on, they hear us talk for 5 minutes and not launch immediately into Magic, and they turn off the podcast, and I hope those people's car goes off the road.
Jesus.
What? They're not listening? Fuck them. Right? Like, they're not listening. Who cares? And if you're listening still, don't tell your shitty friends like, "Hey, listen to that podcast you told me about, and they were talking about Mighty Ducks or something. It's bullshit." Don't tell your shitty friend that we made fun of him. Don't do it.
I just say, I'd like to think that every Magic podcast out there started this week by going, "Let's talk about boosters and Throne of Eldritch, and let's talk," and they hit everything. Like, we don't need to retread that ground. We'll have some fun. We'll talk about the financial aspects of it to the extent we care about, and that's that. So, and now we're going to give you some real valuable information. It's Breaking Bulk time.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, breaking bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
Breaking
Oh, goody gumdrops.
Dissension, common, white card, go.
What? I didn't hear what you said.
Dissension?
Common, white card, go.
Dawn Charm.
That's
Saltfield
not
Recluse.
even remotely close.
It's a white common that's worth money.
From a set like 2 years different.
I didn't play Magic.
What does the
then,
set
man?
symbol
Come
for
on.
Dissension look like?
It's like a 3-pointed like star almost.
Wait, was that the... Oh, that was the Return to Ravnica block.
It was the first Ravnica block. It was
Oh.
the last set in the first Ravnica block.
Oh, Jesus. White common?
Yeah.
Boros Fury Shield.
No.
Did I get
Boros
that
was-
right? It's from Ravnica, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it a creature?
It is a creature.
Oh, man, I can't think. It was Orzhov was that set.
Orzhov was Guild Pact, so no.
No?
Nope. This card is not associated with a guild.
Is it an Eidolon?
No.
Those are...
That would have been a good guess, but no.
I don't even know the cards in that set well enough to.
This card is not associated with a guild. Dissension was Rakdos, Simic, and actually I can't think of the last one.
Wait, Rakdos, Simic, and Zorius.
Yes, it was Zorus. But this is Guardian of the Guild Pact. I will not keep you waiting any longer. Guardian of the
That's
Guild
white?
Pact.
I thought Guardian... okay.
It is a 4-mana white spirit. It is 2/3, and it is protection from mono-colored. This is the only creature in the game with that line of rules text, protection from mono-colored. It is a Pauper house, especially because almost every removal spell in Pauper is mono-colored. So they aim a lightning ball. Nope. They try to journey to nowhere. Nope.
Isn't it like a 3-mana 2/3 though?
It is a 4-mana 2/3. It is worse than that,
Jesus.
but I mean, it is almost unkillable. You have to in terms of removal spells, you kind of have to terminate it. You can't not shrapnel blast. You can't galvanic blast it. You can't what's the one disfigure. You can't you can't kill it with all of these very popular removal spells in Pauper. So when you slap an armadillo cloak on this thing, you just kill him.
Huh. I mean, that sounds like a Pauper thing.
Yes, I mean the card's retail price is a little over $1, so I mean it's definitely buy listable.
That's crazy. You're
All
gonna
right,
get those
JJ
in bulk
is going
like
to
crazy.
put a graph on the screen if he's not
Well,
septic yet.
if
so
you
that's
have
gonna be
Dissension
fun.
bulk, do you see Dissension bulk anymore? That set is old, man.
Not very
I've been
often, but I
playing-
mean when you see
Yeah, but if
Dissension
you
bulk,
get
all
it-
of the good stuff is.
You're
picked,
right.
this
You're right.
isn't.
It will be there if
Yeah.
If
you
you
get
get
this
it, it
bulk,
will be
they're
there.
gonna pull out the signets and the bounce lands and all that crap, and yeah.
Jason, what year do you think Dissension came out?
2005.
Okay, it's 2006.
6.
Wow, no way.
Ravnica
I just
came
figured
out
you were
in
gonna give me, like,
2005. Guild Pact
2012?
and Dissension came out in
I was going to
06.
say 2005 because I graduated college in 2006.
Well,
we were drafting
Okay.
it.
All right. It was it was I don't know when, in May 2006. I was just curious that was going to make you feel old, but you actually knew you had a time period to relate it to.
Yeah.
All right, I've got one for you guys. I don't think this is incredibly difficult, but it might be. This set is, I think, old enough now to qualify for most of our listeners. But a Battle for Zendikar, uncommon, multicolored.
Drana's Emissary.
It is Shauna's Emissary. It's a black-white 2/2 for 3. It is a vampire cleric ally with flying. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses a life and you gain 1 life. It's 50 cents retail. Very easily buy listable.
Did I pick this recently, or
I am
was that
looking at the sheet
Cliffhaven
because I feel
Vampire?
like somebody.
Oh shit! Was it? Oh, has it been picked? I can do a different one if so.
Did I pick it or did I
no,
pick
it is
Cliffhaven?
Surprisingly, not on the sheet.
Huh.
But I thought the same thing, Jason.
You probably
Speaking of
picked
which,
it last
the spreadsheet
year.
is a perk. That is.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
Jason,
we're
go.
referring to in the spreadsheet is if you wanted to see all our past picks of the week and breaking bulk and see some analysis of like how we've done. That's one of the things available to our patrons who are at the tell them what level, DJ.
$10.
$10 per month level, which also gives you access to the Discord. If you just like Discord access, go to patreon.com/Brainstorm Brewery and give us $1 a month, which is 20 or 25 cents an episode. The Discord access is the best $1 you will spend in all of MTG Finance, and we will make you $10 a month, $20 a month, $1,000 per 100 months if you just join the Discord.
You know, we can actually make that kind of promise because we're on episode 360 or whatever now. Yeah, we can actually be like, yeah, we can realistically expect to be podcasting that many months from now.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought we would have made it this
sadly
long?
almost there,
Yeah, I mean, this spreadsheet goes back to May of 2017, so you have 2 years full worth of picks of the week in Breaking Bulk. There is a pick of the week tracker that shows average gain percentages, total gains for all of our picks, and you can see who is winning.
And it's updated the Monday the night we podcast, and this episode goes out to everybody like Friday, so you could be like almost a week ahead of everybody else on our picks of the week, which, like, if you want to get a jump on people, I think it's worth it $10 to get our info before anybody else does.
Yep. Also, I'll say this
right in your face.
Well, I'll say this while we're on the subject. We made some changes to the Patreon, and there's a lot more coming. You might notice if you've been to the Patreon.
Not that
nobody's. We are.
Nobody's perks have been edited yet. It is
yes. But the one thing that has changed so far is that we've changed our goals from money-related goals to number of patron-related goals. So if you're out there and you're like, these assholes don't deserve to make any more money,
we don't.
But we want to grow. We want to grow the community. Get in at $1. Get in on the Discord. We want to hit those goals that are fun for our patrons without
and not fun
feeling
for
like we're
We're gonna make him
like we're begging for money.
Drown in a fish cosplay that is professionally made by a cosplayer.
Yes, that is true. So, the thing is, when it was tied to money, it was kind of like,
we don't want individual whales. We don't want all your money.
We just want to grow the community.
The Patreon. We want it to be a community thing.
Yeah. So get in there. Get in for $1. And
tell your friends to get in for $1.
Yep.
If they sign up X friends, then those friends can sign up X friends.
And then it'll be like a reverse upside down triangle shape.
What would you call that?
Some sort of scheme.
Reverse funnel?
Let's call it a three-dimensional square-based triangle scheme.
Okay. It sounds okay. Yeah, that seems fine.
An Amonkhet invocation scheme.
All right, Jason, what's your breaking bulk?
Well, mine is from a very recent set called Guilds of Ravnica, and this is a blue uncommon.
Blue uncommon. Curious Guilds of Ravnica. Blue uncommon.
Guild Summit.
Murmuring Mystic.
It is Guild Summon. This is a card that is going to be a card forever. They're never going to reprint it, I would think. And it's got a line of text on it that not many other cards have, which is whenever a gate enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. Every gate deck is going to be blue.
And
because every gate deck's 5 colors, because why would you not play Maze's End? So,
well, there's also gate decks in Standard now. It's getting to be a real thing because of Scape Shift and Field of the Dead. So once you have to play a bunch of differently named lands in order to make Field of the Dead or whatever, I don't even know that card offhand, but to make the deck work, you need a bunch of differently named lands, and you basically get stuck playing Guild Gates, and therefore you might as well play Guild Summit.
But you have Circuitous Route also, which is,
Yep.
a card that's been EDH playable forever. So I like Guild Summit, taking it out of bulk, and curiously, it's more expensive on TCG Player than it is on Card Kingdom. And EDH Rec puts those two prices side by side. And anytime I see a card going more for TCG Player Marketplace price than it is on Card Kingdom, I take note of that.
It means that a lot of sellers are listing it on Direct, and a lot of people are filling out Direct carts.
Yep.
That's what that means versus Card Kingdom, who only changes their prices when they sell out.
All right, let's talk about, I think, something we're going to have some strong opinions on, Commander 2019. And by virtue of that, I guess I basically just mean Brawl 2019 as well. I don't know if it's correct in my mind to lump them together or not, but I still kind of do. What do you think, Jason?
I think they're going to be a different product, but I think there's going to be stuff in Brawl that impacts Commander.
Yeah, I mean, like the Signet that isn't really
the
Signet.
Signet's actually not in that product.
It's in the Brawl decks.
It's in the Brawl decks.
It's in the Brawl, yeah.
Yes, that is
which is why I'm connecting them, because they are. I mean, they both use commanders, and they very clearly said to themselves, we want Brawl to work. How do we make people play it? Well, let's put a Commander staple right at the top. Let's lead with it. That's not like, those aren't accidents, and it's not bad. There's nothing wrong with it. It's the marketing. It's how they're going to sell the product, and get people to play Brawl who might not have otherwise played Brawl. All of that is fine, but that's why I sort of lump them together, because they operate on the same axis. What do we think? Are people going to...
Well, the cards will go one way. EDH stuff is not going to go to Brawl, but Brawl stuff will go to EDH, which means that anything that's good in Brawl has a chance of being played in EDH, and therefore that makes the Brawl product a little bit more attractive.
Right. So do you think the real question is here, right? Do we think that people are going to play Brawl, or are they going to buy Brawl packs and then play those cards in Commander?
I'd like it if they played Brawl because of the stated goal of the set, which is to make people stuff that they have because they buy boosters but can't play in
Brawl's
standard.
Great in theory.
Not worthless. But the fact that it rotates
that is like
feels
my
real
biggest
bad.
complaint with this stupid little signet. And Sam Black put it really eloquently on Twitter. But the short version is like, by making a card that is mandatory in the format and hard to get, it reduces the format's I guess integrity of just like being draft chaff decks.
Yeah, and this is what we've actually talked about for Commander with a long time. And Sam, in that thread that DJ is talking about, Sam also put it that he dropped Commander when they started printing cards for it. And we talked about it a lot. It seems like every year in the Commander decks, you get 1 to 2 or 3 cards that are now must includes in every color. And the effect of it 5 years later is that there's a whole bunch of cards you basically just kind of have to play. So Command Tower is one of the better examples, right? And this is basically the ramp version of Command Tower. Also, it's not a signet, which is just like an unforgivable flavor fail.
Yeah, signet is not
like
it's synonymous with just 2 mana artifact that makes mana.
Yeah, like a signet is you put colorless mana into it, you get 2 colored manas out. This is just tap for 1 mana of color. Like, that's just
Plus,
really
signet
weird.
was the word for like the guild sign. It was a signet ring that you like had the guild symbol on it, and you press it into wax. It like that's what a signet is. You can't just say, "Oh, this is the signet of every guild." I don't know, man.
Well, it's just odd. So I mean, flavor complaints aside or whatever, it's I agree with that, but I do also agree that it's going to get people to buy Brawl decks, and that's not a bad thing. And I think this is the big one, right? Brawl coming to Arena is going to make Brawl a format, whether people want it or not. And I actually played a fair amount of Brawl before, and it was fun. I enjoyed it. Even on Magic Online, I enjoyed 1v1 Brawl because Singleton is just fun Magic. But at the time, at least, it was incredibly broken, which really, really did a lot to hurt it. It was also making it a 1v1 format is going to lead to that in a lot of ways, because in person, they kind of want you to play it as a 4-player game. You can play it 1v1, like you could play Commander 1v1, you could play CDH, but because they're putting Brawl on Arena, you're kind of forcing people to play 1v1. And that just I think that was the problem to Brawl the last time it kind of broke out, is that it got quote unquote solved, Brawl and everything else, and it just wasn't fun because it got solved. And I feel like that's where Arena is thankfully much, much better at mitigating that issue than Magic Online, because there are a lot of free-to-play players on Arena. So I do think it fits a little more, but it's just weird. It would be weird to have 1v1 Commander implemented on Arena when no one got to be careful here, this community gets mad at us, when not as many people play it that way in paper. So we'll see, I guess, is the answer. If it makes standard crap be a little more desirable, sure, that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't really know, because I don't think anything was a problem with Brawl last time has changed, other than like they should have. What's that?
Brawl, Chief of Compliance.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that card.
That was the name of the
right?
format. It wasn't Brawl. It was Brawl.
Yeah, that was so stupid.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't think the fact that people don't like that it rotates and they don't want to. If the stuff in the Brawl deck repeats, that's fine, but I don't think it's going to. So, like, it's cool that, like, there's a guy named Skulton, Saturn Coffee on Twitter, that is apparently Irish and super excited that they brought a flavorful character from Irish folklore called Cuchulainn back. He's Cuchulainn, Teller of Tales. Like, as cool as that is, he's got a shelf life, you know? So, you get that Cuchulainn deck and you're super happy about it, but how long does that last? A year? And then there's a rotation, and then...
But I think that's good. The Commander has rotation. People switch their Commander decks up. My playgroup has gone through dozens of decks in the past year. I'm a weird one because I don't do that.
Yeah, gone are the days of people like me who just build that Gonti deck, and then that is their pride and joy.
And just foil it out or
I just build a new one.
Yeah, I built a lot of new decks, and I actually took apart 2 decks to build my new Omnath Locus of the Royal deck, so I get it, but I don't know. This is just, it's basically, it's doubling the amount of money that EDH players have to pay every year.
They don't have to play it.
That's
important. But you know what? It also
there's going to be stuff that impacts EDH in these decks, so like...
It also serves as an entry point, right? If you have arena players who are going to start playing Brawl, and then their Brawl deck rotates out, but they still want to play it,
they turn it into a commander deck.
Make it a
so
this
will basically make EDH look better by comparison, because I think Oathbreaker does that pretty well on its own.
Oathbreaker aside, I don't think this is bad, and if it, like I said, I think there's a lot of upsides to this. So hopefully, it works out
financially, we're going to sell more freaking singles. We love it, obviously. As a player, I'm not super thrilled necessarily, but as a guy who sells cards, fuck yeah, hook it into my veins.
Well, as long as you charge at least $1 per rare, it's great for you, because pulling a bunch of 12-cent rares just gets real old real fast.
Yep.
Do you charge $1 per rare at your store, Corbin?
I think our minimum is 50 cents.
I have a box of dollar rares, and the more you buy, the less you pay per rare.
Okay, Jason, I have a question, because I've actually been discussing that. We've been discussing that at my store. Do you think, because one of the other people at my store doesn't think this is a good idea and that it's just not worth it, right? How do you think instant collections? I know they can do well if you're on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or whatever, but the instant collection, which for people who don't know, I mean, you take 1,000 bulk singles, commons, uncommons, you throw 5 bulk rares into it, and you sell them for $6 or $8 or whatever.
I personally prefer to split the rares and the commons and uncommons to let people sort of make their own instant collection. Like, they can choose how many rares they want to add based on a bulk rate of rares, and they can choose how many commons and uncommons they want to add based on a bulk rate of that.
How do you typically sell yours, DJ? Is it at the store, or is it through other avenues?
I do not have an arrangement with an LGS currently, so I use Facebook Market. Facebook Marketplace is my most get the most hits on, and then Craigslist is the secondary.
Yeah, so we had somebody come into the store today who was like, I got all these cards. These are the older cards I got off a 2,000 card lot on Amazon that I paid $30 for. And I thought that was a great deal. And I was like, my man, for $30, I'll give you a lot more than 2,000 cards. And he was all about it. He's like, can you give me rare guarantees? And I'm like, you tell me what you want and I'll tell you a price. But that's the only time I think in the past, I don't know, year and a half, I've ever had somebody really come in through the store wanting that stuff. So the question is, should we put all that stuff together and try to sell it in the store?
I sell 1 or 2 instant collections a week, and sometimes someone will go into their car, open it, and then come back in and buy more. So, like, I think apparently I'm doing it pretty generous.
I think I'm going to give it a shot, because since the market has fallen out on bulk in general, I actually recently kind of did a survey around, at least my area in Oklahoma, because I want to make sure I'm paying the most. But $3 per 1,000 is the most any store is paying of any store of any kind.
Yep.
So that's.
But I think
where you're at these days.
If you're over generous in doing it, and then people are excited and they come back and buy more, realistically, a rare is a dime if you can even get that. I've seen people pay as little as like 7-8 cents.
8 cents is like sort of the market standard nowadays.
Yeah.
Yep.
If that, and that's on the high end. Like,
local
vendors will pay
5. 15, 20 rares, and like you're throwing legendary stuff in there that they could build around, or like just decent rares that are
we ultimately
bulk
came
because
down
they were printed 15 times. Like, they're excited about it, and then like the bulk is just bulk, but like they can actually have enough cards to build a deck. You give them enough lanes to build a deck.
Yeah. The question we ultimately came down to is it worth paying an employee to put these together?
I think you'll sell out of them eventually, and since it's just like, well, it's bulk from forever, it can just sit.
Yep,
it's fine.
that's what
like. You don't have to update it. You don't have
Yeah.
to dig through and be like, oh, we got to open up every instant collection box because that rare went from $5 to $20. You don't have to stay on top of it. It's just a set it and forget it thing.
Yeah,
I made
think
up
I'm
20 of
I
them,
think
and
I'm
I
gonna do
keep
it.
every time I'm down to fewer than 10 in the store, throwing on one of the slots. So I've always got 9 or 10.
I think when I get back from
just keep
Barcelona, I'm going to try to
replenishing
put some together. So I'll report back for anyone who's curious on the podcast.
I would
here.
personally prefer to
couple
just
months.
like split the rares and commons and uncommons, just because in my experience people would prefer that just like decision making ability.
Sure.
But I mean that's
if I wanted to stand behind the counter in the store for 8 hours, sure. But I don't.
What?
I just want to not be there and have the boxes sealed.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I do like
100
100 rare lots. I do like 100 rares for X price, 1,000 commons and uncommons for X price, and people can be malleable about how many 100 rare lots they want, basically.
What do you charge for a 100 rare lot?
$12.
That's not bad. That's like
You're getting 12 cents.
12
each.
cents, yeah.
basically twice the bulk rate, but people are, getting a lot
No,
of
that's
rares for pretty
perfect.
cheap.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do because I used to have an out where I could get pretty good for the rate for the bulk, so I actually would just take it all and dump it there.
Yeah.
But that fell off along with everyone else.
No, I do.
There was a hot minute where I was getting $10 per thousand, and it was
but you
unreal,
ruined
but
it for yourself
I only
because
sold
you
100,000
forgot that you
cards.
could shear a sheep every year, but you can only skin it
No,
once.
that's not what happened. No, that was you're actually thinking of my quarter per bulk rare deal, Jason.
Oh, the other thing you ruined for yourself.
That one
It's
I
so
did
hard to
ruin
keep
for my,
track of all the
that
things where
one-
you got
yeah.
super greedy.
That one I ruined for myself. The other one I didn't because I'm not the only person in the world who figured out that this place was paying you a penny a card or whatever I was getting in absurd amounts. So.
Yeah, I do 12 cents, or I do $12 for 100 rares, or $110 if you pick up 1,000, and then I do $6 per 1,000 on commons and uncommons, and I drop that to $5 per 1,000 if you pick up at least 50,000.
Okay.
And I get a reasonable.
That's
I
pretty
get
cool.
like maybe 3 or 4 messages a week on Facebook Marketplace.
Okay, I think I'm gonna. You guys have convinced me. I think this is and I'm. Listeners, give us your feedback in Discord, on Twitter, whatever. Speaking of,
I bet
We
it's
are-
geographically bound, and that's what we'll find in our 3 personal experiences. One person being from upstate New York, one person from being in the Midwest, and one person being in Oklahoma. And I think our listeners will give us feedback that is also geographically based. It probably has a lot to do with that.
well, yeah, it'll be interesting. Oh, you made me lose my train of thought.
Good. Your train of thought, if it's that easily derailed.
Careens off the tracks and into pick of the week. How about that?
If your
I
your
would try to
train
go
was
to pick of the
derailed by
week.
a penny on the tracks, then it wasn't much of a train to begin with.
There's a trolley problem, and one end is headed directly into pick of the week, and
Fair. I just don't know.
Do we derail the
what
cast
about
to
so well, it
save the
doesn't matter.
cast? That is the trolley problem.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
well, I've
Okay,
got a
pick
I've
of the
got a
week.
pick of
Who
the
wants to
week
go?
that contains a lot of numbers and a lot of doubling and a lot of
I was going to mention the Twitter giveaways. It was a good derailment. We brought up Twitter. Speaking of Twitter and Facebook, find Brainstorm Brewery on both of them and on YouTube. Finger blast the bell, as Jason says. But we are doing giveaways, legit giveaways, every week on Facebook or Twitter. We're alternating. That means the playmats. That means the flasks. That means the tokens. And we got lots of cool stuff. So if you aren't following us on those, at the very least, go retweet us and try to win yourself some free value because we're giving away some nice stuff every week.
Very nice.
All right, go on.
an unbound amount of giveaways are flourishing throughout this social media campaign. Unbound flourishing has basically bottomed out, I think, at like $7. This card says doubling doubled the casual X double do the big things. There's a legendary Hydra in course at 2020. Do the math, X equals times 2, and then bam, unbound flourishing unbounds itself to $14 by next year.
You think
this card's
it'll?
sweet.
You think just because it doubles that it'll double its own price?
I mean, I think that because it has the word double in it, and because casual players like copying stuff and like having big numbers when they cast Hydras, I think that this card will go up.
It's
I don't
also
know
also
about
a
14,
mythic.
that was a guess, but I mean, I think this card will be more than it was 6 months from
Yeah.
now.
It's a mythic that from a set that's already going crazy and people already don't care about. So, like, there's not a lot of them out there.
Yeah, it's not like people are going to go bust packs
Yeah.
to get copies of stuff.
All right, I'm going to give you what I think is a long-term pick, and I'm actually curious about your feedback here because, and the Discord feedback on this one. It's a card that I'm seeing pop up more and more in Commander, even though, like, it's fine. And with Brawl, it'll probably get a little, but I'm just kind of thinking along the lines of last week when we talked about how cards don't drop at rotation and then go up because of Commander over time. They just kind of go up. So what do you guys think about Guardian Project? It's a 4-drop enchantment from Ravnica Allegiance. It's a rare and just
it basically says when you play a creature, draw a card.
Draw a card. Yep, in Commander, because it has to not have the same name as a card in your graveyard. No, obviously not an issue in a singleton format, including Brawl.
Unless your DJ's Gaunty deck.
What's wrong with my Gaunty deck?
Well, you're not going to trigger that all the time. Because sometimes you're going to have a creature in your yard that's something you stole from somebody else.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you guys think? The card's $2. I don't know. I don't know how good it is in Commander. It seems very good in sort of a more casual Commander group. But also, like, this card
I
seems
think
like a
this
Brawl
follows
card.
the stream trap. Follows the same path as Path of Discovery.
Uh-huh.
Which is probably going up and continue to hit like $3 or $4 mark.
I mean, the thing about Guardian Project is, like, it's not getting jammed in the older decks as fast. But it's from a relatively recent set, and it's already in 4,000 decks.
People who have like Commander decks that they've had for 3 years aren't going like, oh god, I need to put a guard.
Right.
Their 99s are pretty well established.
Right.
But when people are making new decks, if you look,
and the newer players,
if you look at the cards in Ravnica Allegiance, it's the number 2 card. Smothering Tithe is in 10,000 decks. Guardian Project's in like 4,000. Rhythm of the Wild 3,800. Growth Spiral 2,700. So there's like a drop off after that. You know?
I didn't even realize it was going to be. I love it when you back EDH Rec. Obviously, is great for stats. You should check it out, everybody. Yep. But I didn't even realize it was going to be that good.
Yeah, Incubation Druid is 10th, and it's in 1618. So this is like there's a real big drop off. So like the top 3 cards are in over 3,000 decks, and then everything else is in way fewer. So Guardian Project is huge. It's in basically half as many decks as Smothering Tithe, which is it's a lot. It's in twice as many decks as Wilderness Reclamation. So when you say 4,000 decks, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. But here's what I did. I went to EDH Rec, and there are a bunch of drop-down menus at the top. I clicked on Sets. I clicked on Ravnica Allegiance. And that brought up, the Ravnica Allegiance page where you can see every card in the set and how many decks it's in. And you can see what the top commanders are. No surprise, Teysa Karloff's number 1. So Guardian Project's the number 2 card in the set behind only Smothering Tithe. So that's the kind of information that can help you make informed decisions versus, well, is 4,000 a lot? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Okay, well, good. Then I feel pretty solid about that at $2. It may take a while. It may not. I mean, who knows? Brawl might come out, make a big splash, and card goes to 3 or 4. Like Path of Discovery was a good example. That card has seen 2 jumps in the past year. That card was 50 cents a year ago. Then it jumped to 150. Then it jumped to 3. And that's a standard card, and it's probably not going to go down in rotation. Jason, what do you got?
I got a card that was just reprinted in a Masters set called Masters 25, and I think it's done getting reprinted for a while. The card is Courser of Kruphix, and it seems like every deck...
I will say that just reprinted does mean a year ago in this context.
Sure.
That seems like a just.
But, like, it's gone up a little, but, like, I didn't feel like calling it a year ago because I didn't know if it would recover. But in the context of, like, every deck that's coming around lately, wanting to put lands into play.
Sure. I agree.
I think Courser... the best time to buy it was, like, right when Masters 25 came out, but the second best time to buy it is right now.
No, it's... JJ, put that one meme up on the screen, like the meme of
What's
like
the meme?
Guy with the second, or the Twitter meme where it's like the best time to delete this was right after you posted the second. Just Photoshop Jason's head out like with Courser Kruphix. Just what to do. It's fine.
I've never seen that meme, but that is actually brilliant. I love it. I didn't realize. I'm going to be honest, Jason. I don't know if it's a good pick or not, but I didn't realize this card was still $3 to $4 after the reprints. I thought it was like a $2 card because of how many times it had been reprinted.
Yeah, lots of people thought that, and that it's forgivable. But if you look at like what's popular right now, like if you look at the top commanders of the week on 88 Rec, where you just go to commanders, and then it says top commanders is like the number one thing in the drop down. Number one is Yarok, which is no surprise there. There's Kaikar, and then Golos is number 3. Mm-hmm. Lord Windgrace is number 5 by virtue of all the puts lands into play stuff. Muldrotha is number 6 by virtue of like Yarok goes in Muldrotha goes in Yarok. Like people are building that deck. Gargos is top 10. That's going to be a ramp deck. People are starting to build Omnath, Locus of the Royal. That's a ramp deck.
Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is that green might be good.
But it's not just that green might be good. It's like it seems like green is like, all right, we're putting lands into play. That's what we're doing.
Green also... Go ahead, sorry.
Well, no, look at the other green stuff that like is going in almost every deck. Like starting with like Tatiova, basically. You got Ramanap Excavator that's up to $6 on Card Kingdom, $4 on TCG Player. Tatiova itself as a foil is like $7. You've got Wayward Swordtooth. How much do you think Wayward Swordtooth is worth?
I know the answer
sell
to
it for
this.
$7 in the booth.
It's $9.
10 on Card Kingdom, 9 on TCG Player.
I bought some tonight. I was shocked.
Azusa, same set. Masters 25. 35 on Card Kingdom, 29 on TCG Player. Avengers Zendikar has been printed 50 times, most recently in the Lord of Windgrace deck. Back up to $3. All the land stuff is just going nuts. Lotus Cobra, great time to buy Lotus Cobra. Tireless Tracker, World Shaper.
This is kind of an obvious point to make, but it is worth making. I mean, they just spoiled the new commander. I don't remember what the name is. Whatever the new card that when you cast a spell, you get to put lands into play. Like
Kukulane, I was just talking about.
Yeah, that just stupid crazy stuff. So between that and all this other stuff, the point you're making about land decks is very good, but it's not. It was Tatiova, Lord Windgrace, but it's Jund, it's Simic, it's Bant, but all of them want Courser of Crufix. That's the important part here. It's the Lands Matters decks cover a lot of bases.
Absolutely.
As far as colors,
they're
and they
them
all
at
want
a much
this.
higher rate than they ever had before.
Correct.
Too.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is that they keep pushing them. Before you'd be like, we want the Simic cards.
Do you tear apart your Lord Windgrace deck to get out the Wayward Swordtooth, the Azusa, the Tireless Tracker, the World Shaper, and the Courser when you want to build Omnath, or do you just buy all that shit again?
Well,
what do you do as a guy who's had your deck for 6 months? What do you do?
I'm the person who buys them all again and just builds a new deck, but I think most people take their decks apart.
I don't think everybody does that, especially if you
not everybody.
Like to keep,
yeah.
Like I definitely took Tatiova apart to build Omnath, but I'm not taking Lord Windgrace apart, for example. I'm not taking whatever.
I'll make this
the blue
point.
blue green partners. Like
I'm gonna go on a slight rant here.
Okay.
I like to play Control in Commander. I like to play my Carador deck that kills everything and repeatedly and plays out of its graveyard. I like to play Nicol Bolas, where I try to destroy everyone's hands and boards and win with Planeswalkers. And they are printing such unreal commanders these days that I kind of feel like I'm getting like that style of playing is getting pushed out because they started. It started with the partner commander, the blue-green one, escaping Thrasios, I believe. And at least for that one, they have to pay mana, but it's so annoying that you get to draw cards or ramp. And Tatiova is insane. There's so many broken commanders that are just play this as your commander, and your card advantage is guaranteed no matter what anyone else does to you. And I'm slightly tilted about it because I feel like it's legitimately pushing out some different strategies.
I mean, there are other commanders that are being printed that are like, no matter what, as long as this is your commander, you will guaranteed have a way to blow up their shit.
Like what?
Like the gods. Like Mogus, like Keranos, like
I mean, but the power level of Mogus and Keranos, take 2 every upkeep, is a heck of a lot different than this card they just are printing. The card that Jason's talking about, whatever it's called. The cast, even doesn't even matter if it resolves. Cast a spell, get infinite value. this is obviously just it's a rant, it's a soapbox, but I kind
Yawgmoth's
of
pretty
feel
good
like
at blowing up all their shit.
what is?
Yawgmoth.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't deny people resources very well. You can remove stuff, but it's very hard to deny people resources with how powerful this new stuff is. And it's neither good nor bad, I suppose, but it certainly hurts a couple of my decks. And I'm not the only person playing Nicol Bolas the Ravager, so, it's a thing. All right, anything else you guys want to talk about before we get out of here this week? I'm sure we missed something. There's a ton of news going on this week, but don't worry.
Yeah, we missed emails. We should read an email.
We'll have a...
I said we were going to do emails, and neither of you brought up an email to read, did you?
That's correct. We don't have time. We're an hour in already. There's too much to talk about.
Why don't we...
Get an email, DJ. Give us an email.
Why don't we change the name to Fast Brainstorm Brewery, and then we can do a 3-hour episode. Just change the expectations of what people listening to the podcast think they're going to get. Then we can take 3-4 hours if we want to.
This is a good email, especially because of the conversation we had prefacing the start of the podcast.
All right, go ahead.
Hey, this is your experiences with buying collections from Carlos Martinez. Hey, Brew Crew, this is Amaranth from the Discord. Simple question. Can you guys talk about the last collection you bought? I've read some of DJ's articles about this topic, but I'm also interested in hearing actual stories from you guys. Sincerely, CG, sent via smoke signals, #EU Brew Crew. That's a good hashtag, by the way. EU Brew Crew.
That is a great hashtag.
This email was sent on May 22nd, so exactly 2 months ago.
No, it was said exactly when I was a year younger and didn't have a kid. That's a long time ago. I had one kid when he sent this email.
DJ, it's actually not the last collection I bought, but I did recently buy a deck that may or may not have had some fakes.
That counts as a collection.
And I may
as
or
a
may,
collection of beatings.
I may or may not have I thought I knew the person selling it to me. It's half foil. I assumed that I didn't unsleeve them because
unsleeve all your cards before you purchase them.
I was trying to go to the lake. I thought I could trust the guy, and I'm not saying that I can't. I am saying that I get paranoid sometimes about fakes. So I don't know. Maybe I got hosed. Who knows?
As much as I want to make fun of Corbin, I don't remember where I got this, but somehow in my collection I came across a fake Sword of Fire and Ice, and I don't remember telling someone I was going to pay him like $40 for a card and then not checking it. So I think I might have got it in with a lot or something, but well,
that's just how this stuff goes
fakes.
Sometimes.
It happens. Sometimes they end up in your collection.
It's also just, here's the thing. It's also
Rip
just the cost. Somebody came in with fakes a couple weeks ago. They didn't know they were fake when they were selling me like a several $1,000 collection. And I had to tell them, like, we got out the loop, did the whole thing. I think these are fake, man. And that was that. I always tell people to go get a second opinion because you should. But it is a thing. It's also just the cost of doing business, so it happens.
I have yet to work a GP. I have yet to work a GP that has not involved me buying fake or not seeing fakes, not buying fakes, but I have seen a fake at every GP I have worked. At least one. Sometimes as high as 4 or 5 throughout the weekend.
The good news is they're bad.
Yes.
The fakes are bad.
Most of them, in my experience, are pretty bad. And that's the problem. The problem is whenever you find one that's fake, you just start questioning every other card, and then you start dealing with 20-year-old cards, and you psych yourself out. Unless you're DJ and you handle, 10,000 cards a weekend or whatever, right?
Yeah. The last collection I bought was a Legacy Reanimator deck today that is mostly foil and almost entirely signed. So I expect to have some amount of difficulty moving some of this stuff. If anybody listening to this needs a set of Odyssey Careful Studies that are foil and foil signed and then also altered by Scott Fisher, let me know. Foil Inkwell Leviathan is apparently worth $1 billion because Anthony Francisco does not sign cards, and this is probably one of the only ones that exist from what I have heard from my reputable sources who know about signed cards. FNM promo Brainstorms. I expect to have some amount of trouble getting rid of this, but it is a fun little experiment and litmus test for the signed card market, which is why I purchased the deck. So we'll have a little fun with this one. Nemesis Days foiled. That's also German. If anyone needs that.
You're right. These are random cards.
Yeah, the last collection I bought, last 4 or 5 collections I bought was people hitting me up like, I need to sell cards. So let it be known at the LGS that you're someone who buys off-site. Don't buy at the LGS.
But
help your LGS stay open. But
also be careful, for the record, also be careful about like, hey, we got to go into the parking lot. Then I'll undercut the LGS.
Nope, they come to my house. I make an appointment.
Yes.
I don't buy.
You don't want to. So
either.
It's also not okay to solicit in your LGS if you don't have an understanding with the LGS owner.
Yeah,
you
by
get banned from source.
No, I don't mean go in there and be like, I buy cards.
Right.
Just hang out. And
I just want to make sure we're making sure people understand here. You will get banned from your LGS if you walk in and start saying, "I'll pay you," 10%
and you'll deserve
more
it if you're being a dick. Don't be a dick. Help your LGS stay open.
Yeah, and I mean,
man.
if your LGS has trouble buying collections and feels overwhelmed by the singles market and the sort of the volatility of it, that is an opportunity. You can work with an LGS owner, and you can, if this is sort of your side hustle, making money off of Magic cards, demonstrate them your skills and be like, hey, I can be an asset to you, and you can be an asset to me. Let's do something, because that is how literally all of us got some sort of gig with an LGS.
Yep, always better to work together than against each other.
If you're going to buy list a Card Kingdom and your LGS is buying cards and you have them, maybe hook them up. Let them get the stuff in the case. You were going to buy a list anyway, but then they get to make retail on it, and everyone's happy.
Yeah. All right, there you go. We got an email and we did it. We'll get to more. I swear we've actually been trying to do emails for the last couple of weeks.
You said we've been trying to, and then
last week we had it queued up because we thought we were going to only have Ray at the end, and then Ray came on much earlier. And
so it's Ray's fault we don't.
Of course, it's Ray's fault.
Did you hear that, patrons? It's
do you hear that, Ray Perez? Come on.
So get on Twitter. He's Ray Future Pro. Hit him up and say, "Hey Ray, I realize it's your fault that Brainstorm Brewery doesn't read emails," and then follow him. You can harass him every day. And
then if you become a patron, you can get some of the Ray Perez soldier tokens.
And if you don't want to get them becoming a patron, go to patreon.com/brainstormbrewery. Go to brainstormbrewery.com/store and just purchase the tokens outright.
All right, everybody.
We did it.
That's Brainstorm Brewery for this week. I will be at the Mythic Championship over the weekend in Europe, so I won't be here next weekend, but hopefully we will have a lot of great information coming out of that. It's modern. Once I actually have information on the metagame or anything from the event, I can't share it. So I'll say this while I can. Seems like there's a lot of hype around Jund, Eldrazi-Tron. Those seem to be the decks. I have my out.
We were buying Renin 6 at $80 Sunday night.
That's unreal. So those are the things I'm hearing going into the event. War Prison is something I have my eye on. It actually had the highest win rate at Grand Prix Dallas, even in a field of Hogak before the Bridge from Below ban. Now we'll see what happens when people play Stony Silences and Ancient Grudges instead of Leyline of the Voids. But that's a deck I have my hands on. So Urza would probably be, even though that card's I assume already pretty expensive.
We pay $25 on Urza, so the card's pretty high.
Yeah. So just something to keep in mind. Obviously, we'll see. It's modern. Who knows what will happen? But it's going to be fun. Everybody,
Absolutely.
Brainstorm Brewery, thank you for listening.
Well, I mean, everyone should plug their pluggables and tell everyone where they're from and what they...
Oh, shoot. We're doing this? Okay. I'm Corbin Hosler at Chosler88 on Twitter, CHOSLER88. I am the content manager for channelfireball.com. I do coverage for Wizards of the Coast, for Arena, the Magic Pro League. I'm a correspondent. I do the... did I say the Pro Tour? I said Mythic Championship, clearly. Anyways, that's me. Somebody else go.
Well, you do a different thing every couple of weeks, so nobody knows what they want to do to you.
I own an LGS. I have a lot of jobs.
Jason E. Alt on Twitter. I got a pin post where you find all of my projects, including the articles I write for MTG Price and CoolStuffInc.com. I'm the content manager for EDHRec.com. I am on a movie podcast called Director's Cut on the They Said We Said network on
Which
YouTube.
Is great, by the way.
Yeah, it's a good time. John Dunning of 10th Street Hooligans is my co-host on that. That's a good time. So it's Magic people like Ben Bateman from Masters of Modern and other Magic-related guests just talking movies. It's a good time. What else do I do? I think that's it, right? Oh, I have a case at an LGS, and I don't know.
DJ, go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Douglas Johnson. Everybody calls me DJ. You can find me at Rose of Thorns on Twitter, arguing with people about various Twitter topics that mean nothing to the ultimate fate of the universe. I am a buyer for 95 MTG. You can find us at most North American or European Grand Prix or Magic Fest or whatever you want to call them. I have an TCG player store named Card Garden, and that is also the name of my general buying and selling operation on Twitter. You can find my sales with hashtag Card Garden. And I will be posting quite a bit of stuff when I get back from an event this past weekend, so hit me up there and you will see some sales starting Monday or Tuesday.
All right, everybody, there you go. I know we've been teasing it for a while, but give us a couple more weeks and all of the Patreon announcements will be out there and updated. Until then, or at least until next week anyways, everybody, thank you for listening. This is Brainstorm Brewery.
Bye.